We all want what is best for our children to make sure that they are safe, healthy, thriving, and happy. Children in Jamaica have a right to be protected from abuse and harm, and those rights are safeguarded in the Child Care and Protection Act 2004. Today on Morning Coffee Guest, we talk to Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, about what is in place to help us do this. We introduce our guest when we come back from the break. Hello and welcome to Morning Coffee Guest. I'm your host, Simone Absalom Gale. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, is Jamaica's child protection system with a reputation of promoting child-friendly policies and groundbreaking programs. One of those programs is the Ananda Alert System. And here to help us look at its recent initiatives, as well as other programs, is Acting Deputy Registrar of CPFSA's National Children's Registry, Mrs. Licia Vassell. Mrs. Vassell, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's get to it. What is the Ananda Alert System?
So the Ananda Alert System, thank you for that question. The Ananda Alert System is Jamaica's response to this missing children's phenomenon. And the aim is to speedily bring our children home, to recover them from whatever the situation is that caused them to have gone missing.
You recently signed an MOU to bolster the system. Tell me about it.
So we signed with 13 of our partners, and some of them are the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of National Security, Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, the Office of the Children's Advocate, the Jamaica Information Service, the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, and I can't but help to mention here the Children's Cry. So it is our only civil partner that, yes, we signed on to. And here the Children's Cry, founded by Mrs. Betty Ann Blaine, has also helped to change the face of this Ananda Alert System.
How does the system work usually?
So the system works, so the moment that a child has gone missing, you cannot give an account. So the parent, has a suspicion that something is wrong. They checked everywhere. They call their family or their friend and recognize that the child is unaccounted for. Then the first thing that parent, that guardian needs to do is to make a missing person report. And that is to go to the nearest police station with a recent, and I'm going to stress that, a recent photograph, appropriate photograph of the child, and bring it to the nearest police station to make a report. And then the police will take the report asking questions such as, the child's name, the child's date of birth, the child's friend, the age, what can you use to identify the child, what are the details or the circumstances that surround the child going missing, and from there then they will do their investigations. And then the Ananda Alert System is activated.
Oh.
So when the system is activated, then what happens is that the information is sent to the Ananda Alert Secretariat that is housed at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, who will then send an email blast across whatever platform. So we have persons who are on our email listings that this information is sent to. It is sent to our media house, which is also critical in helping to locate our children. And also it is posted on our social media pages and platforms.
So how do you sift through whether or not, or do you, this is actually a missing child?
So once the police will do their investigation and, ask the parents a few questions. And once they have deciphered that, then they will send the information to the Ananda Alert Secretariat.
So what's new about this MOU? Is it that you've just added more partners to help disseminate the information? Is there anything else that's being added to it?
So it's just to add that strengthening capacity so that, we can work together, we can collaborate more, we can help to bring back our children home safely and recover them in a more speedy way so that, the children, once they are returned, as well as their families, can get the necessary help that they need throughout the process. So it's not just as when they come back, but also throughout the process.
All right, so this has been happening since 2004. We really got serious about this. Is it working though?
So I would say that it is working. Yes, we have strengthened our interventions in reaching out to our children and reaching out to their families. So we are with them step by step, every step of the way.
All right, so data showed that a couple of years ago we had over 6,000 children missing. And how many of those have been recovered so far?
Well, for the most part, about 80% has been recovered safely. But the worrying figure still continues. So even though, yes, we see it trending down, so in the past, we will see over 2,000 missing children. And then in 2021, during the COVID period, we saw 1,066 children going missing. And then in 2021, which was last year, we saw 893. Yes, it is trending down, but it's still too much that we are trying to see how best, working together with this partnership, how we can curb that.
In my research, I saw that more than 1,000 children are still unaccounted for. Why is that? Is there a challenge within the system?
So one of the challenges that we will not say that these children are not home. Sometimes they are, but for them to be taken off the list, they need to go to the nearest police station and show themselves to the police station. But sometimes there is a fear, that they will get into trouble, and there are some parents who probably can't be bothered, so they don't go. As well as, yes, there are some children who still, we don't know where they are. We have no idea of where to locate any of these children. Sometimes we will get some tips that some of these children are, well, now adults, walking around in the community, and when we will give the police these tips or so, the community members fail to give the information to the police.
But I was just about to say that. I mean, it also comes down to whether or not there is a follow-up investigation once the alert has been blasted in terms of long-term checking. Going through the list, seeing who's still missing, and following up on leads. Is it that the case just goes cold from your experience?
So thanks for that. So sometimes what we do is that we have a project at the Ananda Alert Secretariat where the persons who from older years, we tend to go back and call back the parents or the guardians to see what is happening, to see if the children, any follow-up to see, has the children returned home and how are the parents coping. So yes, from time to time, we do go back on former years just to check. And when we get these tips and these leads, especially from community members, especially when there's a photograph, that's why I stress to ensure that there is a recent photograph of the child. So when these are done, community members will call us and say, that I saw the child in X community, and then we will ask the police to go and check it out.
I suggest that you also check the schools in terms of getting recent photographs, because schools now generally ask for ID pictures.
But
what's the challenge for that one?
One of the challenges sometimes is that they staple the photograph to the child's document, and then the stapler, sometimes that staple mark impression, sometimes it's in between the child's eyes or so.
Okay, so they need to be careful where they place it, because a parent will say, I have no money to take a picture every year of my child. I have no money for that. I'm busy trying to give my child food.
But most times, how they present the photograph to us is using their smartphones, and we have the technology to remove it. Okay. So that's why we're saying, take a picture of your child, not on Snapchat with the images on them, but a clear photograph that somebody can recognize your child, just in the case of any eventualities.
What are some of the popular reasons that you've heard of why children go missing?
So I follow a friend. There was a party, and I wanted to go, and I asked my parents' permission. Children just wander away. This is something, and they just wander away. So those are some of the reasons that we get. Or they were in some trouble. There was something at home, and they were fearful of going home, so hence they didn't bother to go home because of fear of getting into trouble.
Do you get cases where parents are separated and one parent would take the child and the other parent don't know? Do we have that in Jamaica?
From time to time.
So how do you deal with a case like that now? Do you charge the parent?
So it's just to have a discussion. It's just to have a discussion with the family members, the parents, and we refer these family members, these parents, to one of our units in the CPFSA to help to deal with situations like those. Because sometimes it's just a discussion. Just a discussion.
All right, story time now. tell me about a success story where, I don't want one that you just explained to me where, they just follow somebody, go down the road, and then you find them and they come back. But like, there must have been, several cases where it was really a doubt that you're going to find this child, and then it happened.
So the one that jumped out at me is one in particular where a teenager went missing, where nobody had any idea. But what had happened is that she had met this person on social media. Oh. And, I want to appeal to our parents and our guardians and our children, be careful of how we go about, being on social media. So she met the person on social media, and this man would have enticed her to meet him somewhere, which she did. And after she met him somewhere, he would have taken her across 2 different parishes and brought her to a particular location. But thankfully, with the intervention of the police and also the persistence of the parents who would have made several attempts, the parents would have found a way of contacting this particular person. And then with the coordination of the police across the different divisions, would have safely recovered that particular young lady. Now she's at home, she's doing well, and the CPFSA has offered some support to her and her family, just to get her back to a level of normalcy and to regain back their life and take control.
Is it a situation where I've always imagined, what's the ratio between girls and boys? Do we have more girls missing, or is it equal now?
So it's not equal. So we normally see over 80% of children that goes missing are girls, or teenage girls.
Serious matter. Serious matter. We take a short break, but when we come back, we look at other initiatives by the CPFSA. So come back. Welcome back. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, is our guest on Morning Coffee guest this morning. And still with us is Acting Deputy Registrar of CPFSA's National Children's Registry, Mrs. Licia Vassell. Ms. Vassell, we're going to be talking about another initiative now, the 211 hotline. Tell me about it.
So the 211 hotline, thank you, was launched in June of last year, 2021. And then July of the same year, we went 24-hour. So we operate on a 24-hour basis where calls can be routed across the island, and we also have a call center dedicated to receiving reports of child abuse and missing person.
Wow, so anyone can make this call? So
the 3-digit number gives a focus on our children. So children can even call to self-report. So yes, anyone from any network, any time of the day, any day of the week, can actually call us to make a report of child abuse.
And is it being used, are you saying?
It has been used, sometimes misused as well, but it has been used.
So how does this hotline system work?
So once you have information about a child who has been abused, any type of abuse, so whether it is physical, emotional, sexual, child trafficking, labor, whatever it is, or whatever concern that you have about a child, you can feel free to call us with the necessary information that you have. So we need information like, the name of the child, but probably you don't have the name of the child, the child as unknown Shakira or unknown Miss Birdie granddaughter. You can call us with that information. So once you have the location or the address of the child, so the location can be the church next to the big tree at 12 Carlton Crescent, that's our address. Yes, so you can call us with that information and you have the details outlined of whatever that is happening with this particular child.
And then what happens? So how does it mobilize?
So what happens next is that a report is received and recorded, and then an assessment is done, and then a referral is also done if needs be. So when the referral is done, it is referred to our investigations partner. So our main investigations partner is our own internal investigations unit in the Child Protection and Family Services Agency that gets the bulk of these reports. And then we also refer some of these to the Office of the Children's Advocate, as well as the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime that works with trafficking, as well as the Criminal Investigations Bureau that works with children who was reported to us under the suspicion of there was some abuse that leads to death. And then from there, the investigation is done, and then they give us a feedback or give us an update of what happened.
It's interesting that you mentioned some of these Jamaica Constabulary Force agencies, I was just about to ask, what if a child calls and says, I've been abducted, I think they're trying to traffic me, I don't exactly know where I am. How would you treat with a sensitive case like that? What if you can't, do you track the phone number? I just want to know what happens. I mean, if I'm a teenager and I'm imagining the situation, I would want to think, what would I do if that happens? I mean, I had an active imagination. But I'm
all right. So no problem. I'm not sure if we have ever received a call like that.
But just in case.
Just in case. No,
just
we don't track. So I just want that for the public. We don't really track the numbers. But just in case somebody calls us like that, we would probably stay on the line with the child and try to get the assistance of the police in order to help to locate the child wherever he or she is. So we'll probably ask questions to try to figure out, where in the environment, where in the place the child is, can you hear sounds? What is it that you're hearing? What is it that you're feeling? What is it that you're seeing? And information that we would ask in order to ascertain the location of the child.
How is the support from the police with this initiative? Because this is your baby, CPFSA, as a ministry.
Yes.
How's the support? Because I would imagine you have some prank calls coming in and stuff like that, and the police are busy. What's the support like from them?
So with the prank calls, which we still do get, we sometimes report them to the police because it's not just a prank. We also get sexual harassments from the public. So we do report these matters to the police, who sometimes do their investigations. Sometimes we get feedback, sometimes we don't. But in terms of referring our matters or reports to the police, yes, they are actively on board in doing their part of it, because under the Child Care and Protection Act, yes, they need to also play their part and give us an update on the matter so that we too can update the persons who actually made a report.
All right, so you don't just look for missing children. You do a host of other things. Tell us about some of the other services that the CPFSA provides.
So the other services, I will start with the intake and investigations and court services. So that is the first contact with the organization. And I just mentioned the National Children's Registry that receive and record and do an assessment and refer the reports. And when these reports are referred, then they go to investigations, which investigations, this fact-finding, finding out whether or not, whatever the allegations were, if they were true or not, and then they prepare reports for court, which our court team will take over from. We also have what is called the Child and Family Services Unit that does the counseling services for our children who you don't want to put them in the court system, so they will go and work along with our families. There is the Family and Life program, where this deals with our adoption and our foster care services, as well as our transitional living program. So this is for our children who are transitioning out of state care. So once they reach 18, they prepare a program that will ensure that our children in state care are just not left by themselves on their own. So they will prepare them for whatever that needs to happen in the wider world. So they will prepare them. They will put them in projects that will give them skills. So we have children who are in university, children who are in vocational, so they're no longer children, but they're adults, but we still call them our children. So they're in universities, they're in programs at Heart Trust, NSTA, and other programs.
So what's it like? What about parents who need the help and they need to reach out to you if their children are exhibiting juvenile delinquent behavior and stuff? Can they come to you? Is the first thing for you to take the kids away?
All right, so thanks for asking that. And there are many persons who believe that once they engage a Child Protection and Family Services Agency, our first mandate is to take away your children. That's our last resort of taking away the child. So first what we do is that we work with the family. We work with the children to ensure that they are at a place. And the same Child and Family Services Unit is the one that deals with that, to ensure that the interventions are done so that the children can live within their own family settings. So no, that's the last resort. And just in case, a parent, a caregiver needs our assistance, we have offices island-wide. So you can always go on our website at www.childprotection.gov.jm and search for where our offices are located. And you can visit us to come and talk to us about whatever the situation is that concerns a child.
What if my child is in scamming or some other criminal behavior that could get them in trouble? What's your first mandated position as a CPFSA? Do you charge that child, or will you treat it as a case where the information given to you as a parent or a community member is taken in confidence and you try to work with that child, or do you take the information and just put it to the police to do their work?
All right, so what happened is that, as I said, we start with the first point of contact, which is the National Children's Registry, and normally we tell the person who have such information, to call the National Children's Registry. But then there are some of our children who actually get in conflict with the law, and then from there, our children's officers or court team will work with those particular children in that regards.
When you say work with, what do you mean?
So offer intervention, offer the services that are available for them, and we also have our legal team who will also work with our children. So for example, if the child is in conflict with the law, sometimes, and if it's a criminal matter, then you know that those things have to be reported to the police. So if scamming is a criminal matter, then you know that those things would have to be reported to the police.
But as a parent, I would imagine, though, that I would want you to try and get my child to move away from that, not treat my child as a criminal, because a lot of the instances, these children succumb to peer pressure. Sometimes the children want to get out of the situation. What kind of help can I expect from you in that manner?
Thanks for that. So the CPFSA too does offer psychosocial assistance. So we will work with the child in that regards, whether through our Child and Family Services unit to work with the child, or to refer to the child to whatever services that the child needs, probably to the child guidance clinic, to child, that is in the court. When they go to the court, a child diversion, whatever the program is. So they will first do an assessment to see what is the need that this child needs, and then do their interventions from there.
Do you work with, is that the same approach you take with children in state care? What if they call you and say, listen, I'm here in this situation, in this home, and this is happening? Because we've had it happen in Jamaica, where state care reports are made that children in state care are being abused and stuff like that. Have you put anything in place to ensure that those things are prevented and that the children themselves can report their caregivers? So
yes, there are instances when that happen. So we have a unit called the monitoring unit, where they will go around, for each region, there is a monitoring officer that goes into our facilities that, yes, work with our children and do encourage the children to make these reports. And then when these reports come to the National Children's Registry, yes, we do take reports on ourselves. Then these matters are referred to the Office of the Children's Advocate, who will go and do an investigation into the matter. And then we have a psychological unit that is equipped in dealing with children with behavioral issues. And these children are also referred to that unit, who will work with them.
Okay, you're one of the executives at the registrar. Is there something that you think that the public needs to know, that you see keep coming up in your line of work? This is your moment to talk to the public.
So what I would want the public to know, if you see or suspect that a child is being abused, don't wait. We have seen many times where, the parents, the caregivers, the public, the community, and it's when the media goes in that it's like, oh, I didn't know, I did see it happening a long time. When you have seen it, you have known, you have suspected that abuse was happening with this child, and you keep it quiet, and then it end up being that, the child being something bad happening to the child, or even end up in dying. We're saying, reach out to us. Don't wait until it is too late. Reach out to the Child Protection and Family Services Agency to get this help. There is one in every parish. And then if it's a report, feel free to call us at 211 at any time. Even on holidays, call us. And we are here to help.
All right. So we just want to thank you so much for coming and giving us all of that information. A lot of food for thought. The healthy development of our children is crucial to the future well-being of any society, because they're still developing. Children are especially vulnerable. We therefore need to ensure their safety and care. Thanks so much to the CPFSA for being with us on Morning Coffee Guest. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Thanks so much for watching.